All right, hello everyone. I hope you're all having a fantastic Sunday night. I think it's Sunday. Actually, I hope it's Sunday. Could be wrong. See, yes, it's Sunday. That just proves how crazy my weeks have been. I'm still in the process of moving. We close on this current house and my new house next Friday. So we're doing both houses in the same day. It's going to be a crazy day, moving stuff out and moving another one in. So I have a big shipping container sitting in my driveway right now with all of our stuff kind of slowly going into it. It's been crazy, so that's why I didn't really know what the day was. Haven't been myself lately. I've been kind of scatterbrained. Anyway, as you guys start joining in, I'm going to get my questions pulled up on my phone here. Get everything right with my windows as per usual. Takes me a good few minutes to get my windows in order. But if you guys are joining in, feel free to go ahead and join in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Make sure my audio is on. Make sure tell me if everything is sounding good, if you can see me okay. And then we'll be off to a good start with our Q&A here. I even got a coffee this time, which is great. That'll keep me awake for the next 45 minutes. Hello, is it Lise? Is that how you say your name, I believe, maybe? Could be wrong. I'm terrible at pronouncing names. That's something you should know about me by now. All right, I think I got everything going. We're looking good. The live stream is healthy on YouTube. Got my other window up. Audio good, video good. Cool. All right, well, as you guys are joining in, let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun for me to see that. Like I said, every other stream or so, I always get people watching from different countries, so it's always fun to know where you guys are watching from. So tonight on the agenda, all right, we have just some questions I'm going to ask from my phone here, which have just come in on the YouTube channel or my email, social media. I just like to grab just questions throughout the month and kind of compile the best ones into my phone here, into my notes. And then, so yeah, we'll do some Q&A stuff. And then I also have, I've been creating a set of presets for the company Pictorial. I'm talking to them about it, maybe them selling them, or else I'm going to sell them. We're going to do some kind of collaboration. But I found that I've created a set of presets in the software Pictorial that work really well for Fujifilm files specifically, but they also work well for other files. So I'll give you a little sneak peek of just one of those presets that I've created for Pictorial. So that's going to be fun. And let's see what we've got going on here. Hi from the UAE. Cool. Brendan, that's John from Lee, Massachusetts. Cool. All right. Well, let's go ahead and start with the first question. Actually, no, before I start with the first question, I want to address something real quick, just shortly. You guys know by now from my YouTube channel that I am not a big fan of the MacFun software, like Aurora HDR and a lot of the other MacFun stuff, because the MacFun software tends to just be really slow at processing, and it just gets on my nerves because every time I make a change, it seems like it takes forever to process my photo or process the change. And people have just randomly over the past couple months, because of my bad reviews for MacFun stuff, they've said, so does that mean you don't like Trey Radcliffe? Because Trey Radcliffe created MacFun. So first off, Trey Radcliffe did not create MacFun. He just collaborates with them on Aurora HDR. Second off, I do not hate Trey Radcliffe, because there is a picture of me and Trey Radcliffe right there. We actually shot together in Atlanta, my hometown here. So there's me and Trey. I just think that lately Trey Radcliffe has kind of moved from being, the cool guy that he used to be, this carefree, just all about the passion and love of photography. He's kind of moved a little bit away from that, in my opinion, and he's gone full force, just trying to sell MacFun products all the time, and the MacFun stuff really isn't that great. So anyway, just wanted to address that. I have nothing against Trey Radcliffe. I just simply don't like MacFun software. So with that said, let's jump into the first question. All right, first question says, Eric, what is the best Fuji lens ever made? That is a tough one right away, because you're going to be hard to find a bad Fuji lens. But if I were to just guess and say the best one ever made, I would probably say the 16 millimeter 1.4 prime. It's just a fantastic lens. That's all there is to it. There's almost no competition. It's just a fantastic lens. Next question says, do you use ND filters or grad filters when you're shooting HDR brackets? If so, how do you use them? That's a good question. So I do use filters when I shoot HDR. If I'm using an ND filter where I'm blocking out a lot of light, sometimes you'll have to go to bulb mode, where you just, you choose your own brackets, because sometimes in bracketing mode, like on a Nikon or Canon camera, you can't bracket slower than 30 seconds. It kind of cuts you off at a 30-second shutter speed. But if you have an ND filter on, then your slowest bracket might be 2 or 3 minutes long or something like that. So for that, all you do is just calculate it. Get an app, a free app on your phone. There's one called ND Timer. There's a lot of apps that'll just calculate the time for you. And you basically just swap your camera into bulb mode, and you have manual settings, shutter speed and aperture. You just do your own brackets. You just fire off with a shutter release or a self-timer, and you just crank off your own bracket. So that's how I do that with an ND filter. And then it says if you shoot with an ND grad filter as well. So yeah, with the grads, the biggest way the grad filter can help if you're shooting HDR is that it eliminates the amount of stops between shots that I need. Sometimes I'll shoot 2 or 3 stops in between shots. But if I have a grad filter, like a 2-stop grad on the sky, then I might only shoot, 3 brackets at 1 stop apart, just to get a little bump in the shadows and the highlights here and there. So the grads really help for a better blend sometimes, because you're not having to stop so significantly apart from each bracket to make such a dynamic difference in the light. So it's just basically the exposures are much closer together, therefore easier to blend. Okay, before I go on to the next one, let me check the chat real quick. Let's see, another name I can't pronounce. I'm sorry. Is it Akarui? Something like that. It says, hey, from Tokyo, how does the 10 to 24 millimeter Fuji compare to the Nikon 14 to 24 in terms of IQ in their common age? Well, so I've owned both lenses. I still own the Fuji 10 to 24. I ended up getting rid of the Nikon 14 to 24 because I just thought it wasn't that great of a lens. It was like, it's supposed to be this like legendary lens, part of the Nikon Holy Trinity. It's just not that great, to be honest. The 16 to 35 Nikon that I have right now is better in my opinion. And the Tamron 15 to 30 is an awesome lens. Way better than the Nikon 14 to 24 in my opinion. But as far as it compared to the 10 to 24, I would say they're kind of comparable. The 10 to 24 Fuji lens, I think, has more distortion on the edges than the Nikon. But the Fuji isn't a bad lens. I mean, it's a good wide-angle lens choice. It's a hard comparison to make because the Nikon 14 to 24 has such a huge bulbous end of the lens, and it's kind of the purpose of that lens is to try to eliminate edge distortion and barrel distortion and all that stuff. And the Fuji film lens does have a little bit of that, but you can fix that in the software anyway. But as far as sharpness and stuff, I mean, they're pretty comparable. But if you want like the best wide-angle lens you can get for a full-frame DSLR for Nikon, or even Canon, the 15 to 30 Tamron I've found is a really good lens. It's hard to use with filters though, because you got that huge bulbous element on the front. So I hope that kind of sort of answered your question there. All right, let's get to the third question here. Let me find it. Here we go. It says, why do you think the Fuji X-T2 is so much better than the full-frame Nikon D810 you used to shoot with? So I've never said that the Fuji X-T2 is better, but of course you have noticed me shooting with the X-T2 over the D810 for the past number of months. The X-T2 isn't better than the D810, and the D810 isn't better than the X-T2. They're just kind of different cameras. They're in different fields. The X-T2 is one of the most versatile cameras, if not the most versatile camera I've ever used. It can kind of do everything, and it can do it all really good. It can do landscape, it can do portraits, it can do wedding, it can do fast action. It just does everything good. The D810 is kind of focused towards landscape photography, macro, product photography, commercial, magazine stuff. It's the detail. It's the resolution monster. So if we're talking about, me, if you think I'm just shooting with the X-T2 because it's better than the D810, that's not the case at all. It's really just, I love Fujifilm as a company. I love that they give you free firmware updates. Their customer service is awesome. Their cameras are awesome. The ergonomics are awesome. The menus are awesome. I just like Fujifilm as a company, and I like their products, but that doesn't mean I dislike Nikon. It's just, they're two different cameras, and I really enjoy having both, because at the end of the day, if I want, if I go somewhere that I've never been, let's say I go to Iceland, right? And I've never been to Iceland, and I want to take these big, beautiful landscape shots, I'm probably going to take the D810 as my primary camera, and I'll bring the X-T2 along as well. But, I'm not an idiot, right? I know if I'm going to shoot big landscapes at a place that I'm probably never going to get to go back to, unless I'm doing workshops once a year or something, then I'm going to bring my D810 because I want the best quality RAW files I can possibly get. And obviously, D810 RAW files with better dynamic range and better resolution than the X-T2 are probably just going to be better image quality, which they are going to be better image quality than the X-T2. But that doesn't make it a better camera than the X-T2. We're just talking about resolution, so it's going to render more detail, but that doesn't mean that X-T2 photos are going to be like blurry compared to the D810. It's just different. They're just different. So, the one camera is not better than the other. They're just suited for different things. Let's see here. Next question. What is the best Fuji prime for street photography? I personally own the Fuji 35mm f2 prime, and I love it. That's a fantastic prime for street work. However, if you do want something wider, more like a 35mm equivalent, I would go with the Fuji 23 f2. And a lot of people say, why not the 1.4 versions of those? It's just my opinion. I think the newer f2 versions are I think they look better. They're sharper in my opinion. They're also weather sealed, which is nice, but there are those Fuji shooters out there that will never let you pry those 1.4 primes out of their hands. So, it's either way. There's 23 and 35mm options in both of those, and then if you want just the f2 primes, they do have a new 50mm option, which is also a very, very nice option, but not great for street so much because it's equivalent to like an 85 or something. Need a sip of my coffee here. All right. Next question. What is your workflow for organizing photos? I got that question so much, and I keep getting it, that I created a tutorial for that about a year ago, actually. So if you head over to my website, findingmiddle-earth.com/store, you'll see a big logo on there that says organize your photos. I think it's like $20-something over there. It goes through an hour of me talking about my entire workflow from start to finish, from importing to naming and dating and all that workflow. So if you're interested in organizing, check that out. It literally covers everything. That's probably one of my most common questions. Next question here. Does the Fuji X-T2 have light leaks in the viewfinder? Mine didn't come with an eye cover like my D4 has built in. Let me read that again. Does my Fuji X-T2 have light leaks in the viewfinder? Okay, so I'm assuming you mean if you're doing like a long exposure. I'm assuming you're asking if having the viewfinder not covered, you're going to let light into the sensor. That's what I'm assuming you're talking about. The answer is no. There is no light leaks at all in mirrorless cameras on the viewfinders because they're electronic viewfinders. So there's nothing optically to reflect light off into your sensor. So you don't have to cover the back of your viewfinder on a mirrorless camera. So, for example, I have one here. I have my XT1 right here. So XT1 viewfinder. Okay, there's nothing in the viewfinder that will let this come through and basically spill light into the sensor on the front. It's all just a computer in here. It's all just a big built-in display. So no, you're not going to experience any kind of light leaks or anything on the Fuji cameras because they do not have optical viewfinders. However, on the DSLRs, yes, you do want to cover your viewfinder if you're doing a long exposure with the sun hitting right into your viewfinder or something. If you don't have one of the covers built in, I always just take one of my microfiber cloths or my hat or something and just kind of drape it over my camera. So as long as there's no light getting into there on a DSLR, you're fine. On mirrorless cameras, you don't need it because this is electronic. There is no optical pass-through that goes to the sensor. So that was a good question, though. But yeah, that's you don't have to worry about that with the Fuji X-T2 or mirrorless cameras in general. Let me check the live chat here, see if anything else is going on. All right, we still good over here? All right, all good. Cool. You guys are quiet tonight. Man, normally my live chat's blowing up. Okay. Question. What's the best bag for landscape photography hikes? There's a million different bags for a million different people, and all I can really tell you is to just kind of do your own research for what kind of hiking you do. I have two main favorites. My number one is probably the Low Pro. I think it's the Low Pro Flipside 450, I think is what it's called. And then I also have, let me see if I have one over here. Give me 1 second. I have this one. This is the Mindshift Gear Rotation 180, and this bag is awesome. Look up my review on this one on my YouTube channel, and you'll see how it operates. That is this waist bag that kind of unbuckles and swings around. So this bag is awesome, and it's big. You know, you have a lot of storage in here. You have a compartment on the back, and this little side compartment flips around and becomes kind of a little fanny pack on your waist. So the Mindshift Gear Rotation 180 and the Low Pro Flipside 450. I believe that's what that one's called. Those are my two go-to bags for longer landscape hikes. And then really for everything else, for like walking around, I like the Peak Design bag, the Peak Design Everyday Messenger, the 15-inch version, I think is what it's called. And this bag has been great. It has these little magnetic buckles, and this is what I have my my XT2 in. So this is what I keep. I have the XT2 with my 10 to 24 in here. What else do I have in here? I have another Fuji lens, 18 to 55 Fuji lens, and a couple filters. But I mean, you can fit a lot of stuff in here. The bag kind of expands to fit what you need. You have an iPad sleeve right here for a little iPad. You can fit a computer in the back. It's a zipper for the computer here, and this material is water repellent. So, yeah, I've been enjoying this bag for a while. If you want something a little more lightweight, not so big, that is kind of a big messenger bag. There is this bag, which is much smaller, much more convenient, just for like a one camera, one lens setup. This is the Tinba Switch 10, and this comes in black, by the way. You have to pay extra if you want the colored leather. So I got the red, so yeah, you can take these little flaps off and get different colors. But this is just much smaller, much easier to carry around if you're going somewhere like all day. But it's also got these cool, so you can see these little grooves in the bottom that my finger fits through. This thing comes with straps. You can strap a tripod into the bottom of this messenger bag, like a small travel tripod. So this bag's been good to me. All right, let me check over the live chat before I answer the last question here. Let's see. Luke says, have you used the iPad Pro yet to blend exposures in Photoshop Mobile or brushes in LR Mobile? So I have used the iPad to blend photos, but not in Lightroom or Photoshop, because Lightroom Mobile and Photoshop Mobile do not allow you to blend anything. As far as actual like brush blending. They don't allow you to, have layers or any advanced controls like the actual Photoshop, at least to my knowledge. Last time I checked a few weeks ago, Photoshop and Lightroom Mobile were both very like dumb apps compared to the one I use, which is Affinity Photo. So if you want an app to actually have like an automatic HDR algorithm or allow you to just brush and blend your photos together with the Apple Pencil, check out Affinity Photo. I think it's, I don't know, maybe $20 or $30 on the App Store, and it's fantastic with the iPad Pro. It's so snappy and fast, and everything works like it should. It's basically like using Photoshop on a $10,000 computer. It's like so fast and snappy. The iPad processor mixed with that app is just a dream come true. So yes, I have blended photos. I'm very happy with the results out of Affinity Photo. I have videos coming up on that. I also have a video coming up pretty soon on how to color calibrate your iPad Pro display, because I've got a lot of requests for that. The reason why I've been kind of slow on videos lately, guys, again, I'm moving, so hopefully after this week, this whole next week is gone, I can get back to a regular schedule and set up my new office and my new house. I've just been, this whole office tomorrow is being broken down, so the desk, the computer, it's all being packed away. So I'll basically be running my business off of my phone, and my iPad. So I'll probably do some iOS live streams or something, and just some quick iPhone videos over the next week to keep some content up. But yeah, I promise I have a lot of good stuff coming. It's just been hard trying to get the entire house packed up into boxes and still, have time to create quality content. Because I don't want to just, put up content just for the sake of getting content and ad revenue. I want to give you guys quality stuff. So, all right, let's see. Paul Redford says, "Hey Eric, Woodstock, Ontario. What's up, Paul? Hope you're having a good Sunday." Luke says it's called Cut in PS Mobile. Nope, I have not used Cut in PS Mobile yet. I'll have to check that out after the live stream. But based on Adobe's mobile apps, I would imagine it's not very good. But I will I'll let you know once I use it. It could be amazing. I don't know. I'll let you know. Justin Fuller says, "Have you ever gone backpacking in the Smoky Mountains?" Yes, I have. Multiple places in the Smoky Mountains. One of the places was a place called Cades Cove. Went to one of the places we hiked to was I think it's called Abrams Falls. And there was a few other places we went backpacking through there. But yes, the Smoky Mountains is actually the house that I'm moving to. My new house is only about 45 minutes to an hour from the Smoky Mountains, which I'm super happy about. I'm moving way up further north in Georgia, so I'm getting way closer to the mountains and the country, and I'm so excited about that because for photography, that means awesome things. So that will be very nice, and I'm hoping all of that I'll finally be moved into the new house by next Friday. That's the planned closing date there. So Justin, I'm assuming you live in the Smoky Mountains somewhere. All right, let me ask the last question here. Let's see. The question says, ON1 versus Lightroom versus Capture One. Go. Well, let's see. Lightroom pretty much sucks now. Lightroom is really good at cataloging, but the sharpening sucks. The contrast kind of sucks. A lot of things kind of suck with Lightroom, especially for Fujifilm users. However, the highlight recovery and the shadow recovery in Lightroom are pretty good. The highlight recovery especially. Highlight recovery in Lightroom is like 5-star. Let's see. What did you say? ON1 with the new 2018 has a lot of great fixes. From 2017, a lot of great new features. They're still working on the, obviously it's in beta right now, so they're still working on finalizing the version. They're still, bug fixing things. But ON1 does a much better job at rendering Fujifilm files for sure. ON1 sharpening is really nice. It's very subtle. ON1 as a whole has the effects panel and the layers panel. So you basically have Photoshop kind of built into ON1. And then Capture One is the best, the absolute best at rendering Fujifilm RAW files. It is the sharpest result I've ever seen, sharper than Iridiant, sharper than Lightroom, sharper than ON1, sharper than any of them. But Capture One as a whole, I don't really like. Their ability to catalog kind of sucks. Their contrast slider is horrendous. You just move the contrast slider like 10 or 20%, and it just kills all the shadows. It takes the histogram just like... Their shadow recovery is pretty bad. Their highlight recovery doesn't do much. So Capture One, it sucks. It's the best at rendering the RAW files. And I'll tell you what, the day that Capture One has good highlight recovery and shadow recovery, and if they add a dehaze tool, then I'm gonna probably switch from all of them and go Capture One. For my primary. I still like to use all of them for different things, but Capture One is the sharpest result. It just, Lightroom and ON1 are so much more advanced when it comes to cataloging and just other things and intuitiveness. So yeah, I guess that's my roundup there. Also, don't forget about Pictorial. Pictorial is another really good option, especially for Fujifilm users. All right, that's the last question for tonight on there. That took, how long have I been on now? 23 minutes. So if you guys have any questions, shoot them over. I'm just going to hang out for a second and drink some coffee. Looks like you guys have some questions coming in. Let's see. Cool Pics Photography says, which camera do you prefer? The X-T2 or the D810? I prefer the Panasonic GH5. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm assuming you probably just joined the live stream because I just answered a question a minute ago on that. It's really a different tool for the job. So I'll say this. If I'm in the mood to just go take some photos and I want to just go explore and see if I can find some cool places, which happens all the time, I'm going to grab my X-T2, and I'm going to grab the 16 to 55 2.8, the 10 to 24, and the 55 to 200. So 3 lenses there that cover me from 10 millimeters all the way to 200. And then that'll be it. I'll take my X-T2, probably take my X-T1 as a backup for the day, just in case I want to stick the telephoto on this and the wide on the X-T2 or something. And then I'll be good. So 2 Fuji X bodies, couple lenses, and I'll be good. Now, if I am assigned to do a job, like a landscape job for a national park, like I've done before, or some commercial gig, probably going to take the D810. And it's not that the X-T2 couldn't handle it. It's just if I have a D810 with incredible image quality and 36 megapixels, I would be an idiot not to choose that because it's really the better tool for that job. So that's what I was just talking about. It's really, the X-T2 is not better than the D810, and the D810 is not better than the X-T2. They're just different cameras for different things. But I guess to answer your question without all this mumbling, I guess I prefer the X-T2 right now just because that's kind of my go-to camera for just general stuff. But I mean, the D810, it'll always hold a special place in my heart. Currently, I'm actually looking for a Nikon D800E to just get my hands on so I can have one, because I'm afraid that now that the D850's out and the D810s are all going refurbished and used, the D800E was probably like my most, like I was the most excited when I got that camera. I remember the day I got my D800E in. I felt like I wanted to cry. I was just so happy. So I'm still looking for a D800E just to have, because I want it before they go extinct. And I want one that has low shutter count. So I still love my Nikon stuff. You know, I love Nikon, and Nikon has made a lot of stupid decisions and some mistakes over the years. But I love my D800s, my D800 series cameras. D800E, D810, they'll always hold a special place in my heart. No matter how many D900 and D1000s come out in the future, love the D800 series. They kind of changed the game when they first came out. Let's see. Justin says, no, I live in Ohio, but went camping up on Gregory Bald over the summer. I know you like the Smokies too, so that's why I asked. Okay, cool. Yeah, the Smokies are a great place. Absolutely. It's a huge national park, and there's just some beautiful, beautiful landscapes to be had in the Smoky Mountains, especially this time of year in the fall. Let's see. Chike says, just hopped on. Are you buying any new XF lenses? Since there's a lens sale going on right now, feel free to ignore if already asked. Yeah, I saw that there's a sale going on now. Yeah, I think I might pick up the 16mm 1.4. Probably going to finally pick that one up. So that's the one I'll probably end up getting. I'm definitely interested in looking at the new 80mm macro by Fuji too. But I'm probably going to pick up the 16 1.4 and end up selling my 10 to 24 is what I'm assuming. But we'll see. Paul Redford says, any infrared with your X-T2? What lens is best? Nope, I have not done any infrared with my X-T2. So I don't want to make a false or an uneducated answer to you there, because I just don't know. So I'm just going to say I don't know on that one. I don't really do any infrared photography. It was something I would like to try in the future, so I wouldn't really know what lens is best for that one. I'm sorry, but I can tell you that I do a lot of black and white, just like straight black and white, and shooting in their Fujifilm's film simulations. And I find that one of the Fuji lenses that provides a lot of just natural contrast is that 35 f2 prime. It's fantastic for that. So I can say that. I can't speak to anything else for infrared because I'm just not educated in that field. David, hey, what's up, David? David says, FYI, B&H is now having a big sale on Fuji Pro Gear. Yep, I saw that. I got the email this morning, actually. So I'm probably going to finally pick up the 16mm 1.4. That's the plan right now. We'll see. I gotta get into the new house first and see where the finances are sitting after that. But yeah, I'll probably end up doing that. And don't forget too, this is kind of a random thought. Don't forget that the XT1s, which I have an XT1, not an XT2. I have an XT2 as well, but I still have an XT1. These are still just phenomenal little cameras. I mean, I went out shooting with this the other day, And for a 16 megapixel APS-C sensor, I mean, this thing, it just provides really nice looking images. The dynamic range is also still really good on something like this if you know how to properly, you know, shoot your exposure. And it's just, these are so cheap now. The reason I bring it up is because I saw one go on eBay for $350 US. That's nuts. I remember when these things were what, over $1,000 or something when they were new. More than that, I think. But yeah, the $350 you can get these on eBay. Probably $400 if you wanted to go get one now. So remember, the XT1s are still a fantastic option if you're very, very budget conscious and you still want to get into the Fuji system. Because remember, lenses are more important than cameras. So if you have your eye on good lenses, get the lenses first, and then get get the XT1 instead of the XT2, and then kind of upgrade. Or you can get the XT20 is another fantastic option. I went with the XT1 just for for various different reasons that I've talked about before. But just don't forget about that little camera. This little guy here is what kind of started my love for Fujifilm. David says, also, I'm having no issues with the new firmware upgrade. That's good to hear. I'm having no issues either, which is awesome. David says, again, I have an XT1 as a backup for my XT2s. Yep. I'm telling you guys, this little camera here is also very, very impressive. And with this one, with the XT1, whenever I know I'm going to be going out and shooting sun stars, I always like to shoot my sun stars with the XT1 because you don't get that weird purple grid issue like you do on the XT2, where you get those that big square of purple grid flare when you shoot into the sun. With this, it doesn't happen. So just something to keep in mind. Noah says hello. Hello, Noah. All right, I think I'm actually caught up on the live chat. I think we're good. All right, guys, I'm going to be getting off here in just a minute. I normally do like hour live chats, but I don't want to just sit on here and bore everybody. I've already done all the questions and answers here. I thought that was going to take longer than it did. So let me make sure here I don't have some anywhere else before I get off. I think I'm good. All right, well, if you guys, I'll give it a couple minutes. If you guys have any questions, of course, shoot them in before I get off. I'll probably get off here in just a couple minutes. Noah says, I'm new to photography, so I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, that's okay, because if you keep watching YouTube educators and you keep just going out and shooting, you'll learn, I promise. When I first started, I had a Nikon D70, I think, like an older Nikon camera. And when I got my first D300, if you guys experienced shooters out there, I'll know this. I got my first D300, and the D300 didn't have any kind of like auto setting. That camera, the D300 camera, forced me to just learn manual shooting. So Noah, what I would say to you, buddy, is just go out and make a bunch of mistakes with your camera. Take some terrible looking photos and then figure out, in camera how to make them better. Of course, people like me and lots of other YouTube channels provide some content to help teach people. But no worries if you don't know what we're talking about. Don't ever let that discourage you. Let's see here. Lise says, did you try the D850? Nope, I have not tried a D850. I'm sure I'll rent one eventually just so I can give you guys my thoughts, but I've already kind of told you, what I think. I think it's a fantastic camera. I mean, it looks like from everyone's reports and reviews, it looks great. I'm not a camera reviewer. I'm a camera user, and I just don't need it. I have a D810, a D7200, an XT2, and an XT1, and I'm a happy boy with all those cameras. I don't need anything else right now. The day that I'm sitting at my computer and I say, you know what, 36 megapixels isn't quite enough for me. I need 46. The day that I sit there and say that, then I'll buy a D850. But right now, I am more than happy with my D810 and my Fuji cameras. I just don't need anything else. That's really what it comes down to. I'm not a camera reviewer, so I don't get tons of cameras in and all that stuff. I just simply use cameras and shoot with them. I don't get them in for review unless I want to own it. And then of course when I own a camera and I like it, I'll review it. All right. Noah says, thanks. Can you rub mayonnaise on my belly button? Just kidding. Are you sure you're in here for photography, Noah? You sure about that, guy? Because I don't know about that comment of yours. Makes me a little uncomfortable now. All right, I think. Hold on one second. Let me know if you guys can still hear me and see me. All of a sudden my YouTube thing says the live stream just went to this yellow, like, unhealthy thing. Which I guess doesn't matter because I'm about to get off. Oh wait, before I get off, I got to show you guys my preset real quick. So anyway, for anyone that wasn't here in the beginning, I'm in the middle of creating a preset pack for the company Pictorial. Because I just like using pictorial software to play around with their I don't know, their software. Literally, it's so fun to use because it looks like it should be an app, like an iPad app. It's the interface is just so beautiful. It's a beautiful looking interface, and obviously the software works good as well. It's a great raw processor. We can see you in here. Okay, good. So I wanted to make sure, I don't know, the YouTube window here, the green live stream thing went to yellow and it said it was unhealthy for a second. So, okay, that's good. All right, so I'm going to show you guys my preset, just one of my presets real quick. I'm just going to show you what I'm working on, just give you a sneak peek here. Let me swap over to my pictorial window. I think I'm there. Okay. So this is a raw file that came right out of the Fujifilm X-T2. If you go here to the info, you can see it's the, let me see where the metadata is. So you can see the, where are we at here? ISO 200, focal length 35, camera, the X-T2. And then I was shooting at f5.7. And I had my 35 f2 on. So I just want to show you one of my presets. So this is the raw file right out of the Fujifilm camera. And this is one of my presets that I've created. It's called Color Gradient Sunset. So you click that, boom. There's that nice color gradient from blue to warm, and then it's got this nice like light ball around the sun to kind of overexpose it just a little bit. So that's the raw file. And then that is my preset applied called Color Gradient Sunset. And I may or may not keep it that name. I'm not sure, but I may even tweak it a little bit. So I'm just giving you guys kind of a sneak peek of sneak peeks here. Of what I'm going to be doing with Pictorial here pretty soon. So once again, there's the raw file right out of the X-T2, and there is my preset. That's just one of them. So anyway, I think it's going to be fun to hear you guys, to hear your opinions on this, because I love making presets for myself. I make them all the time, and I had an email from somebody, one of my viewers, that said, have you ever thought about making presets and making them available to us? And I was like, hey, that's not a bad idea. Because I find that my presets help me shave like 30 minutes off my workflow by doing a lot of things for me, and then I kind of start editing a little more from there. But for most people, just that one click would be okay if you're just a minimalist editor. So that one preset right there has curves, contrast, color added to it, 2 luminosity masks, quite a few things, a radial gradient, I believe. So yeah, it's fun playing around with the presets. I hope you guys like them when they come out. So also, guys, before I get off, don't remember, I always say this, I get tons of emails, but it's always easier to reach me on social media. So just remember, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and if you ever need to get a hold of me, those are the quickest ways to do it other than email, because I have so many emails that stack up from my website. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, I'm always pretty quick to reply to direct messages on those platforms. Other than that, I think I'm good to go here. I'm going to go finish packing, and I guess after this video, I'm going to break down my office and say goodbye to all my cameras and tech equipment until next week when I move to the new house. So all this is about to go into a big moving container outside, and I guess I'll be running my business from my phone and my iPad for a while. So again, I'll try to make some content with my phone and my iPad, just do some live streams or something, just quick little iPhone videos to check in on you guys. Other than that, I'm also going to be updating stuff on the blog as well, so check over on findingmiddleearth.com for that. Since I won't be doing a lot of video content, I'll be updating the blog more. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.